Hello, everyone. Dr. Victoria Skirbo speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. Today is Sunday, May 23rd, and I'm about to do the astrology of the week, May 23rd, and I figured I would just extend it to May 31st, which is Monday, I believe. So it's a little longer than a week, but might as well just kind of wrap May up in a little bit of a bow. So this will be week 4 and some. Okay. So let's take a look at what I have prepared for. So before we do that, let me just take a quick look at the moon's journey through this week. So there's a general feeling. So today is the 23rd, and today the moon moves into Scorpio at 11 p.m. It says 11 p.m. And Saturn goes retrograde today. That Saturn retrograde goes retrograde at 14 degrees of Aquarius. We'll look at that. We'll look at the chart and we'll look at the Sabian symbols associated with that. But Saturn is the structure of our reality. It's how we structure things. It's how we contain things. And that is in a new process. There's a new process that we are experiencing with the conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius back at the end of December 2020. So that was really sort of the start of a new sort of way of moving forward in the world, expanding societies. And there's a need to make things more equal, Aquarius, and have less people like ruling Leo, right? So now we've had Saturn's been moving forward in Aquarius now since then. Actually, a little before the 21st, my neighbor is mowing. He always mows a strip of my yard, which I wish he wouldn't do. I'll mow it, but it's sort of his strip, so I don't want to. That's not a fight I want to get into. But it's noisy. Sorry. So it's been forging forward, right? And now it's turning retrograde. It's stopping and it's turning retrograde. And anytime we have retrograde motion, it's a time to reevaluate. So we're reevaluating all the things that we put into place. It's also a time of releasing and letting go of perhaps some thoughts or ideas that you had about your need to be completely independent, or perhaps our need to be more interdependent. We have to balance that, right? So that could be part of the journey. But when Saturn is retrograde, things that are out of the box, more progressive, things that you perhaps didn't think that we would ever get to, we get to. So there's a sort of a thrust when Saturn starts to move backwards. Saturn is the rules. When it starts to move back, there's more of that Uranian thrust, and that is on both sides of the divide. That's on the, in the case of the United States, it's on the Republican side, it's on the Democratic side as well. It's equal measure. The Republicans seem to get more press, but the Democrats are very active right now. So I guess we'll see, right? All right. And of course, for the moon, for the week to start with the moon in Scorpio, even though it's late Sunday night, is pretty intense because the Scorpio moon requires us to look really, really deep. And sometimes we have to look at some shadow stuff, and it's not pretty stuff. And if you're not willing to look at your shadow, sometimes you express your shadow. So that energy, with the energy of the eclipse coming up, I would be very careful this week, quite frankly. I would be careful. I wouldn't be fearful. There's a difference. I would be careful. Happy Victoria Day. It looks like it's Victoria Day in Canada. It says on my calendar on the 24th. The moon makes a supportive trine to Jupiter. Remember, Jupiter just moved into Pisces, is going to be there until I think the 28th of July. Or is it the 28th of June? I don't know. I'm sorry, I should know that. On the 25th, the moon also, while in Scorpio, makes an opposition to Uranus and a square to Saturn. Uranus and Saturn are still within the orb of their last quarter crisis in consciousness square that's happening all year. It never really loosens up. It happened in February. Now it's going to happen in June again. And that's been sort of a constant pressure. It hasn't really sort of loosened up. I think after perhaps the June one, things will loosen up a bit. And then in December, that's when, I think it's December or November, the last one occurs. I'll do something specific on that so we can understand it better. But yeah, that this is a big deal. So this this challenge between the new and the progressive, or or just the revolutionary, and the way it's always been, right? Saturn. It's quite a we're seeing it in the I think we're seeing it in the Republican Party between the Cheney folk and the I guess the Trump folk, right? So interesting. I mean, there's definitely a power struggle going on there. I said that months and months ago, that I felt like the Republican Party was going to go through this thing, and we had to just sit back and watch and see what happens, because it's up to them really what happens, right? All right, let's get on. Sorry about that. Wednesday on the 26th, we have a full moon lunar eclipse at 5 degrees 26 minutes of Sagittarius. So whatever, if you have something at that degree, or if you have 5 degrees 26 minutes of any of the other mutable signs, Pisces, Virgo, Gemini, that's also getting activated. Of course, the sun is in Gemini, so that's going to activate from the Gemini side. So there is a eclipses are, you never really know what's going to happen. You never really know what's going to happen. And it is a north node eclipse, although it is a lunar eclipse. Where the sun sits and where the north node is, that means it's a north node eclipse. And so it's about moving into a new direction, going in a new direction. However, we have this this full moon, and we're going to be expressing things. There's a lot of stuff that's going to come out with this new moon. A lot of feelings, a lot of beliefs, a lot of facts, a lot of it's like a lot of illumination. There's a lot of illumination coming, and that's going to continue. It doesn't just, we don't have this eclipse on the 26th this week, and it doesn't, like, the revelations don't continue to happen. They will continue to happen. Sometimes they don't even happen on the day, although I have a feeling we're going to have some sort of revelation on the day. But we'll see. We'll see, because it is a wild card, and we don't always know how it's going to manifest itself. We can give a best guesstimate. But the thing with eclipses is that they kind of act like Uranus. And the best thing to do with Uranus is just to wait for the dust to settle and then see what you can do. I mean, that's really the energy of Uranus. It's that it can be that powerful. So, and an eclipse is very much like Uranus. And we have Taurus we have Uranus in Taurus, and Saturn in Aquarius. This is earth shaking, social shaking of society. But it's necessary. It's necessary. And as the old shakes loose, more and more resources for the new. I think the key through this process is going to be resourcefulness. How resourceful are you? What do you have? What can you utilize? What can you make with it? How can you share the joy with it? Just look around and see what you have, what you need, and what you don't need. And with what you don't need, you can put into the flow. So people who maybe have less and don't have the opportunity to have something nice can have something nice because you make it available. You let go of it and it finds its new home. So I feel like there's a lot of rehoming stuff going on anyway at this time. And I think that's also true with a lot of the pets that these people bought during COVID because they needed a companionship. They were losing their minds and something to focus on and a reason to go out every couple of hours and take a walk, a nice long walk, so they could walk their dog, right? So they did that. Now their lives are changing again. And they don't have the time, even if they wanted to do it. So keep the dog or the cat or whatever. So there's a lot of rehoming. There's a lot of that energy. And it's okay because I think on some levels helps us open up to the flow a little bit more because, you're not always going to have, the $300 to get yourself a new couch or even a decent sized couch, right? Or a decent used couch. But you say, hey, I could really use a couch and I want the couch to be purple and I want it to be comfortable and I want it to, come from a smoke-free home. And then wait for it to, excuse me, it's true. Wait for it to show up, right? Wait for it to show up. Okay. So, the moon, of course, is going to be in Sag, the 26th and the 27th. It makes a square to Neptune on the 27th. That happens every month when the moon goes into either Sag or goes into Sag or Gemini. It's going to make a square to Neptune because Neptune's in Pisces for 14 years. Excuse me. We also have on the 27th a square between Venus and Neptune. Venus is in Gemini, Neptune is in Pisces. Neptune is the higher octave of Venus, so they have a special relationship. Venus is what you love, and Neptune is the ideal. And so the square of Venus and Neptune can be a taking actions to create the ideal situation, the ideal landscape, the ideal project, whatever like creative, self-expressive project is bubbling up within you, right? This is an opportunity for that to grow, to blossom. But you have to put work into it. One of the problems, however, is that you can sometimes have delusional thinking. So while it is a sort of conduit and a stimulation for that sort of creative idealism, you have to make sure that you have the resources to do it. And so you can be as idealistic as you want, but if you don't have the resources or the resourcefulness to get it done, then it's a goal, right? It's not a dream, it's a goal. You say, oh, okay, well, at some point I will. And if at that point I still want to do it, I'll do it. So it's like working within the parameters of what you have. I think there's going to be a lot of that. And I think that's true. I think it's something that we need to learn how to work with, because I do think there's going to be a time when things get a little bit tougher financially, but I don't necessarily think that it has to be a terrible situation. I think it'll be terrible for a situation for the people who have no resources at all. they're going to depend on the safety net, and hopefully the safety net will be sufficient to sort of support us through this. But things are changing, and I'm optimistic. I'm always optimistic. And then on the 29th, which is Saturday, we have Mercury making a conjunction to Venus. Of course, Mercury is sort of slowing down. It's almost stopped, actually, because later that day, Mercury goes retrograde. So it's not completely standing still, perhaps, but it's because it reaches its stationary point at about 6:30 p.m. And the conjunction to Venus is at like 1 o'clock in the morning. So there's like 6.5 hours between them, but the energy is there. And the question is, Mercury and Venus, what do you want to create? What is it? What does putting your heart and mind together, and then Mercury going retrograde, and then the mind having sort of take a back seat to the heart. And so as Venus moves forward and Mercury goes retrograde and has time to ponder things. So it's going to be very interesting. June as well. It's kind of for me, it's been very ideal kind of energy for June, for May, which is really always the truth of me, true of me. I mean, that's like my favorite time of year. It's starting to get a little too hot now for me. So, but I'll still enjoy it. It just, I can't enjoy it like for as long as I normally do. Like in the spring, if it's a nice day, I'll just stay out all day. I won't go in. I won't do anything inside. If I do stuff out for work, I'll make sure the window's open, or I'll do it outside, but now it's starting to get a little hot. So now I'm going to get back to work a little bit more in the office. All right. So let's just take a look at the charts for these and the Sabian symbols for the stuff I just talked about. So let's see. I just have to find where. Where is this one? No. I'm sorry. I'm just having a hard time finding. Oh, here we go. Finding where I'm at. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. So let's start this as a, just want to make sure I'm on the right spot here. Yeah. Okay. That's where we start. So I'm going to do it in the slideshow so you can see it a little better. It makes it bigger. From current slide. Okay, I gotcha, guys. So Sunday today, this is today's energy, the 23rd of May, is actually, okay, so the 23rd of May is, I didn't fix that, is it's actually a 33/6 day. 10 and 23 is 33. So it's a 33/6 day. Today's the vibration 33/6, which is in the Kabbalah is associated with Venus. We have Saturn stationing retrograde at 14 degrees of Aquarius. And the symbol for 14 degrees of Aquarius is a train entering a tunnel. This is the Sabian symbols by Dane Rudger. See if I have the book here. Yeah, I always kind of have it around, kind of walk around with it under my arm. That's why it's in such terrible shape. And Dane Rudger says the ability, so a train entering a tunnel, the ability to shortcut the process of natural evolution by the exercise of will, mental skill, and physical self-discipline. In the symbol, we see a condensation of what is implied in the three preceding ones. Man must be inspired by a vision of what is possible for him to achieve. He has to organize a schedule of necessary activities if the work is to be done in terms of successive moves. Each required a specialized type of skill and strength, a hierarchy of function as it is. He has to find a propitious time for beginning the work. The end results in an acceleration of the evolutionary process, whether at the psychobiological level, that of yoga and other similar disciplines, or at the social level. For example, the level at which its external aspect, civilization, proceeds. It says here, this symbol implies a possibility of shortening the length of time needed for progress by cutting through obstacles and delays. The key word here is penetration. So this being the symbol for Saturn retrograde, we all have ideas about, well, not all of us, but many of us have ideas about how we want to move forward, especially people who, like, it's new, like there's this new like sense of, okay, I have to do something now. How do I move forward on that? And how do I make it count? And how do I support myself? How resourceful can I be? And I think the time that Saturn is retrograde is going to be the time to do that. It's going to be the time to figure out what has to change, what has to be better, right? So that you can do the work that you're here to do, the important stuff, the soul stuff, right? So let me just take a look and tell you when Saturn goes direct again. So Saturn is going to go direct again in October. It's October, looks like October 11th. And it's occurring at 7 degrees of Aquarius. So right now, am I doing this right? Yeah, so we're at 13.5 degrees of Aquarius. So say 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So there's about, is it 6 degrees that there's an intense sort of energy around, right? And that is between where Saturn is now, which is 13:31 when it goes retrograde. Today, May 23rd. And then when it goes direct, it looks like it's happening on October 11th. It goes direct, and that happens at 6:52 degrees, 6 degrees, 52 minutes, sorry, 53 minutes actually. And so between that 7 degree mark and the 14 degree mark, I guess we could call it the 14 degree mark, the 7 degrees, this is the degrees that we're going back over. So if you have things in that range, in any of the signs, really, it'll just be a different experience for each of you, depending on what you're dealing with. Is it a squared? Is it an opposition? Is it a conjunction? Is it a sextile? Is it an inconjunct? Is it a sesquiquadrate? It just depends. But those degrees are being activated. And I believe those are also the degrees. No, they're not the degrees. The degrees that are getting activated through the Mercury retrograde, which I haven't talked about yet, is also a small number of degrees, but it's in Gemini. So there's a lot of rethinking that has to happen through this year, as it was, and then in 2022, I think that's when we're in a different vibration. We're in a 6 vibration in 2022, and so I think that's when we start to really sort of move into I am my brother and sister's keeper. It's when we really start moving into improving the lives of everybody, each one of us having their lives improved in a way, and have it, stop arguing and just say yes to help, and say yes to help, and then ask, how can I help? Because, we don't want to be isolated. We don't want to be isolated like this. We don't want to be afraid. We don't want to cut ourselves off from our family because they liked Donald Trump. We don't want to do that, but it's being done all over. And I guess sometimes people have to know what it feels like to not have the love before they can appreciate what they have. And that may very well may be what ultimately that lesson with the sort of schism between families on the subject of whether or not you supported Trump or not. Okay, so, but this does indicate a time when we're at accelerated an opportunity with directed will to evolve. If you want to evolve, you will evolve. It has to be your intention. And that takes a certain amount of letting go and allowing. These are all things I think that we're going to see this week, understand on some level. And it's going to be part of our future endeavors. It's going to have to be something that we consider when we move forward and as we move forward. And here is the chart. Here's Saturn up here in the 10th house. You're rethinking authority and our relationship to it. And who has it? Who has the power? Is it people power? Is it oligarch power? Is it corporate Democrat power? Is it progressive Democrat power? Right wing? What is it? We all have power. What you do with it is important. At your free will. But people have tried that power over dynamic for centuries, and it doesn't work. So let's try something new, people. Saturn in Aquarius, we have a better chance of him. This is the eclipse. It is the North Node eclipse. We're in the North Node season. Primary emotion at this time could be fear, because the North Node eclipse asks us to move into the unknown future, and that could be scary. And say, well, yeah, it's not too bad here. Well, whether it's too bad or not, if it's meant for you to change, the change will happen. It's going to happen through you. It's going to happen to you. It's going to happen with your permission or without your permission. Best to be with your permission, right? Well, this is part of the Saros series. 5 North. 5 North is a delineation that Bernadette Brady uses in her book, Predictive Astrology, or the original name was, for those people who've had it for a long, long time, is the eagle and the lark. She has things about the thick stars in there. She has things about eclipses and predictive stuff. Pretty cool. Maybe she doesn't have the thick stars in there, but she does with star work as well. So this series started October 12th, 1624, right around the time that the Pilgrims hit Plymouth Rock. They actually landed in Provincetown first. For those of you who know Massachusetts, it's like the very end of the tip of the Cape. Beautiful, beautiful area. It was a place of pirates, really. It's like a pirate colony. And now it's an art colony, and a lot of Portuguese there, Portuguese bakeries, stuff. Delicious food, really fun people, a really unique place. But it's where the Pilgrims landed. And then they went to Plymouth. So right around that time is when this eclipse started, and it's a north, 5 North, so it started at the North Pole, and will move down through its life to the South Pole. That's how they work. They sort of go up and down like this. Start in the north, go to the south, and it ends. Start at the south, go to the north, and it ends. But they're thousands of year cycles. So, all right. According to Bernadette Brady, this is a very unusual Saros series involving sudden flashes of ideas that seem to have a psychic or unconscious flavor to them. Hunches, visions, prophetic dreams are the essence of this family of eclipses. It is truly a creative series which should have the individual enriched the idea or hunches that come up from this eclipse can be acted upon. So stay open to that, because these are good ideas coming down the pike. And that's from the book Predictive Astrology by Bernadette Brady. And here we have the the sun here in the 12th house. This is for Washington, D.C. This is an illumination of what has been hidden, right? With the North Node here, and Venus and Mercury. Now, Mercury is direct here. And it is at the degree of its retrogradation, I believe. But it's very, very slow. It's moving very, very slow. But it is the ruler of the North Node. And in the 12th house, things are being revealed. This is all information being revealed. Now, there's been information revealed on UFOs that we've never heard before. Well, people who follow this stuff has heard them, but no one's ever said it on regular television. It was on 60 Minutes. So there's all kinds of revelations occurring. We also have Neptune conjunct Pallas Athena in Pisces. This is an outpouring of compassion for those who have been severely, where there's been injustice, severe injustice. You know, people being sacrificed and martyred for what? That's up there as well. I think there's a connection to Israel, and I think there's a connection to America, and everybody who's involved, not just America and Israel. But there is some sort of relationship between America and Israel that is kind of mysterious. It's a mysterious thing. I don't think people really know what's going on unless you're like really in the bowels of it. I think a lot of it is, you have to really look. Maybe I'm sure that it's out there, but you have to really dig for that. And if it's not necessarily something that affects you every day, not everybody's going to want to. I guess people would care, but they might not bother to look. You know what I'm saying? So, but that being said, there are things that are going to come out. So we have Vesta square the nodes, and we have Neptune and Venus square Mercury, the ruler of the North Node. And we have Jupiter in Pisces, the ruler of the South Node. Jupiter in Pisces allows us to let go. It allows for the deep soul healing, expansion of compassion. So this is a time of great healing. This is opening up to that. And we need to have the intention to heal with this energy, because that's what it's here. COVID came to show us what needed to be healed. And now it's time to heal it. The real problems. Okay. The Sabian symbol for 6 degrees of Sag, that's the moon, where the moon is. A game of cricket, the development of skills in group situations, testing collective goals. Keyword, the importance of developing group solidarity. So this is about aligning yourself with people of like mind, with people of like heart, with people who have a similar goal as you do. What is that? Do you want to teach? You need to get together with other teachers. You want to cook? You need to get together with other cooks. You need to communitize it and bring your light to groups of people who would otherwise maybe not have an opportunity to have that, And Sabian symbol for 6 degrees of Gemini, workmen drilling for oil. The activity for the avidity for the knowledge which ensures wealth and power, the ambition. People digging for oil is really hard, messy, gross work, full of toxic and terrible smells, bringing it out of the earth putting it into the air and toxifying everybody. I'm doing a reading, baby. Thank you. You know, is ambitious, but is it prudent? Is it prudent? All right. Who knows? This could be the end of the fossil fuel. This could be a moment for that, right? Thursday, the 27th, we have Venus making a first quarter square to Neptune. I talked about that, the idealism, crisis in action on the seeds planted of the initial conjunction, which occurred on March 13th, 2021. It was a 21-3 vibration that day. That 21-3 is the world cards, ending and beginning. So this is the ending of something, the beginning of something else. And this first quarter square is action that we need to take so that we can build foundational stones, so we can do it differently than the people in the past did it. Because the people in the past did what they did, knowing what they knew or were allowed to know. And now that we know more, we make different choices, right? It's simple as that. And it's just time to make different choices. And those people who are holding back in the old way and not wanting to make changes, they are the dinosaurs, and they will go. They will go. So the Sabian symbol for that 21 degrees of Pisces, where we had this conjunction, the initial conjunction of Venus and Neptune, under the watchful and kind eye of a Chinese servant, a girl fondles a little white lamb, growing in consciousness in the earliest tactile awareness of the wonders of unsophisticated living. Vision of white hope, a hope for the future that can only be felt almost naively. This symbol is pretty complex, and I'm not going to get into it too deeply, but it does speak of, you know, the Chinese being from an earlier race, from the Mu, I believe, and us, you know, the white people coming from a later race, and that it's the building up of the races instead of the fighting of the races, you know. This anger against Chinese elderly people and elderly Chinese people getting beaten in the street, which has always been a problem, but has gotten much worse. You know, are we trying to beat the wisdom out of, I mean, what are we trying to do here? It's not their fault that you are being held back. They're just doing what they're doing and trying to live a decent life, like most of us. So we have to build upon each other's successes, failures, you know, learn from them, and build a better world, build back better world, where we're all like contributing, right? We're all putting in something to the pot. It's like stone soup. By the time the guy who only had some water and a stone was done, there was food to feed a community. The Sabian symbol for 23 degrees of Pisces, which is where Neptune is now, it's moved up a little. A materializing medium giving a seance, the ability to give one's vital energy to substantiate one's conscious ideals or unconscious desires. The person who believes he or she has a mission or a mandate or any special gift that can be of value to his community must substantiate this belief. They have to put their money where their mouth is. They have to put their back into it. They have to prove that what they have to offer is of value and deserves to be out there. And if they're not willing to work for it, it's not going to be out there. And maybe we're the better for it, or maybe not. So why miss the opportunity? Square Venus and 23 of Gemini, 3 fledglings in a nest high in a tree. The growth of spiritually creative process in an at least relatively integrated mind. So you're not going to be able to convince everyone. But for those who have an open mind, then what you have to say will resonate, and it makes a difference. Don't waste your time trying to convince people unconvincible. Just do what you can, be the best person that you can be, and lead through example. I mean, that's what Jesus said anyway. Jesus, Jesus, that's what Jesus said. Saturday the 29th, we have Venus conjunct Mercury, right? This is what happens before Mercury actually goes retrograde at 25 degrees of Gemini. That is the same degree, I believe, that Mercury goes retrograde. A gardener trimming larger palm trees, bringing under control nature's power of expansion. Keywords: the need for repeated pruning. Mercury will be retrograde the 29th through 29th of May through June 22nd, when it will station at 17 degrees of Gemini. 17 degrees of Gemini ahead of a robust youth changes into that of a mature thinker. The transformation of physical vitality into power to build concepts and intellectual formulations through which knowledge can be transferred. Mental metamorphosis. So this is an opportunity for, with the information that we're getting and the illumination that is being provided for us through legal means, through psychic means, through, astrological reading of the stars, or working with the tree of life, all of that helps us to wake up and to think differently. And so it's important, again, to put your words out there, to put your understanding, to put your experience, put your story. Everybody's story needs to be told. And it doesn't need to be a book, but it does need to be heard by somebody, even if it's just yourself telling you the story. Even if you just take a thing, your phone or a recorder, and just record the story of yourself. And maybe someday that will mean something to somebody, and maybe it won't, but it means something. It means something to you at this time, which is good. On Sunday, we have Venus in conjunct Pluto. A 27 Gemini, that's Venus. 27 Capricorn, that's Pluto. This produces a crisis that requires a mental adjustment. This began with the conjunction of Venus and Pluto on the 28th at 26 degrees of Capricorn. Nature spirits dancing in the iridescent mist of a waterfall. The ability to perceive the hidden and creative spirit of natural phenomena. The occult energy in its bountiful natural aspect. This is talking about looking at what it is you desire and looking at what that desire, how that affects the earth that you're on. What is it that you need to change to make it less harmful to yourself and to the earth? What do you have to do? There's a lot of wisdom in nature. It speaks to us. I was just having a conversation with my birth mother, who is an avid, she's an avid gardener. She grew up in the mountains of Puerto Rico. They didn't have much. They had to live off the land. I mean, it was difficult, challenging, and also beautiful existence. And she got to learn the value of the land and how it, when nothing else provided, she could go to the land to be provided for. And that's a connection that we've lost. And that's a connection that America and the world and the earth want to have again. She wants us to interact with her. She doesn't want us to think that she is something trying to get at us, right? And trying to kill us. Her beautiful atmosphere, the air. The atmosphere means sphere of souls. We can cleanse the atmosphere simply by raising our vibration. So this is about making adjustments so that you can connect more with Mother Nature, because she has something to say and she wants to help us, and she needs help. And let me go back. I didn't do the other second one here. And on May 31st, which is a Monday, 41.5 vibration, which is the Ace of Cups, actually, we have Neptune making a trine to Mars. Neptune is at 24 of Pisces. Mars is at 24 of Cancer, wherever that is in your chart. You're being activated there. This is a flowing energy. It's a healing energy. It's really a beautiful moment and a beautiful opportunity for some healing. Take advantage here in this chart for the US that we have in front of us. We have Neptune conjunct Pallas Athena in Pisces. Social justice, right? Trine Mars in that fifth house. Justice for children, justice for women, justice for love, justice for creativity. A nurturing, a healing. That's a beautiful thing. And at the same time, let me look here. We have Ceres getting closer. If we look here, we have Ceres getting closer to Uranus. And that's significant as well. This is Ceres is reaping what you sow to a certain extent. So the symbol is a scythe. Sorry, guys, I always mess that up. A scythe. And Uranus, we are reaping the seeds of chaos, maybe, and the changes that created, necessary, although very painful. And I think that it's not really as bad as we think it's going to be. I think we have a great opportunity to make some really huge strides if you don't talk yourself out of the fact that you can change for the better. So that's what I see, guys. I don't know how long this has been, so let me just try to stop the share for a moment and see if there's any way of me knowing. I don't actually know. I'm going to do the reading separately because I think this went on a little bit longer than I anticipated. But I will follow this up with a card reading for the week. So keep your eyes peeled for that. All right, guys, have yourself a great week. It is going to be a super transformational week for all of us, one way or another, collectively, personally. Things are going to be revealed to us that we didn't know before. And it's going to fill in the picture. It's going to fill in the picture. And it's going to make us be able to make better decisions as we move forward. So have yourself a beautiful, beautiful week. And I will see you again next week. And I will see you later for the card reading. Much love. Take care.